Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So just going to give you my post-match analysis on the Partizan Belgrade Manchester United game that did end by 1-0 to Manchester United yesterday evening. So it is a very good result. Obviously it's 2 games. We've won now out of 3 in the Europa League, so we have registered 7 points from 9 games, and it's now ended 11 away games without a win. Analysing the game, I only watched some of the highlights. It wasn't a great performance by Manchester United. I think the only shot on target we had was the actual goal from Anthony Martial. Obviously, it was a penalty from Anthony Martial, but credit Brandon Williams because he was the one who won the penalty. Brandon Williams for me was the man of the match. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer actually tips Brandon Williams to become a top player at Manchester United, and that was only his second start of this season. And he actually played at left wing back. I do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer yet again. He did stick with 3 at the back, just like he did against Liverpool. So I think now this formation could turn Manchester United around. And I'm actually surprised that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't revert back to the 4-2-3-1 formation, because he's obviously for the majority of this season been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation. I think yesterday we did dominate the majority of the ball. I think we had around 60% possession, but we didn't really create many chances, and that is actually an element of concern, because we're not creating enough chances. We're not scoring enough goals. But I thought yesterday there was some good individual performances. Brandon Williams for me was the best player on the pitch. Anthony Martial, I thought he did okay. Obviously, he got the goal for us from the spot. I don't think he was too effective in the first half. Solskjaer, obviously, I saw some of his post-match, reaction, and he has criticised the non-existent forwards. So basically what he's saying is he's not happy with the defending up front. But Partizan Belgrade had their moments in the game. They had chances, and they were actually the dominant team. But it was actually a poor performance from Manchester United. But we got the win. Where we kept a clean sheet. Which is very good. But yeah. I think, that game against Liverpool at the weekend has probably got the momentum back in the team. It's put confidence back into the team. So hopefully now this is where, Manchester United's season does turn around. It was also good to see Jimmy Garner, or is it James Garner, making his full debut for the football club. That was his first appearance for Manchester United since a 3-1 win against Crystal Palace last season. Obviously, we saw in the second half as well, Marcus Rashford came on for Anthony Martial, Daniel James came on for Wan-Bissaka, and Andres Pereira came on for James Garner. We all came into the game anyway, expecting Manchester United to win, but there is still a lot of elements, that Manchester United do need to improve on. We need to create more chances, like I mentioned. We need to be, more ruthless in front of goal. But you can still say, there's still deficiencies anywhere in the squad that do need to be addressed. Obviously we are all aware that we do need a striker. We need someone to come in that can assure us goals, someone that can be more effective in the box. But yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, we need a forward, because obviously, it was disappointing that we didn't recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez during the course of the summer. And don't forget, Martial's just returned from injury. Rashford was injured early on in the season, so we need to try and get a striker in January. As you all know, I've got a lot of element of concerns about my midfield. Definitely, I think we're missing creative impetus in that midfield. So we need to add depth in that midfield. Some people believe, we need 2 central midfielders. Some people may be saying, where we do need a left back. So there's still deficiencies in the squad, like I mentioned, that do need to be addressed. And I think we need at least 4, 5, maybe even 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. But my perception on Brandon Williams is that I think he could become a success of the football club. Only 19 years of age, like I mentioned, predominantly plays at left back. It was also good that I recently signed a new contract, and a lot of Man United fans now may believe that, you know, Brandon Williams at this present time especially is a better solution than Luke Shaw, Ashley Young, you know, maybe. Obviously we know that Luke Shaw's out with injury still. He's been out with injury since the 2-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace's Luke Shaw. Obviously, you know, Luke Shaw... he's a very imperative player, you know. I think he's enjoyed a good career with Man United, you know, prior to the amount of injuries he's sustained and prior to the bad spell he had under Mourinho. And he's actually now my first choice left back. But you could probably say that Brandon Williams maybe is a better solution than him at the moment. My overarching view on Ashley Young is that obviously he's played in quite a few games this season, Ashley Young. You know, he's past his sell-by date as Young anyway. He's now 34. He's 35 years of age next year. And Young's been a long-serving player at the football club. Young's now into his... ninth season at Manchester United, so he's actually, you know, nearly been here a decade. But yeah, I probably would play Brandon Williams, you know, more often if he does keep the consistency up. But, you know, he had a great game, and Solskjaer believes he can, you know, become a success at Manchester United. You know, Brandon Williams was the player, like I mentioned, who won the penalty, so he does deserve a lot of credit. But Solskjaer made 7 changes in the game, and I did say in my preview anyway, you know, he would have made a lot of alterations in the squad, especially, you know, reflecting on the injuries, you know, where we have still got. It's good now that some players are back from injury. There's still some players out, like I mentioned, Shaw's still out. We know Eric Bay is out until the new year, or the end of the year. Obviously, Jesse Lingard also came back. Lingard did okay in parts of the game. He recently was out with a hamstring injury, was Jesse Lingard. But, you know, he needs to start performing well, Lingard, because reflecting on his status at the football club, he should be putting much more better performances out. Fosu Mensah is still out with injury. He's still out with injury. You know, obviously it got confirmed before the game, you know, about Paul Pogba. We know that he wouldn't have obviously been involved. Solskjaer's also confirmed that Paul Pogba will not be playing on Sunday against Norwich, so he's going to be missed. Obviously, Paul Pogba's been out with an ongoing foot injury that's been surrounding the player for a matter of weeks. So Paul Pogba, you know, is out. You know, I don't know how long he's out for, basically, but he actually sustained this injury, you know, in the 1-1 draw with Southampton earlier on in the season. But even though Paul Pogba's mainly endured a difficult time with Manchester United, you know, in comparison to his time when he was at Juventus, you know, I still think he's a very imperative player, and we are all aware, you know, the difference he does make in that midfield. But yeah, news regarding David De Gea as well. Obviously, as I did update you on, he also didn't travel, you know, to Belgrade. Solskjaer's confirmed he will be ready for Sunday, which is very, very good news. But I said either way, you know, Solskjaer's preference would have been Romero over David De Gea, you know, in this game, in the Europa League games and the Cup games and that, because obviously, you know, Romero has got the experience, and obviously he is our second choice goalkeeper. He's our second choice goalkeeper. Yeah, like I mentioned, David De Gea will be back for Sunday. You know, so we have still got quite a few injuries in that. But, you know, obviously, like I mentioned, on Sunday against Norwich, he will obviously, you know, make alterations in the squad. And he did rest some key players. It's Solskjaer, obviously, you know, because Norwich is on the horizon. Obviously, Norwich is a game that Manchester United do need to win. But, you know, like I said, you know, we are enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season for 3 decades, you know. So far this season in the league, you know, we've only won, you know, 2 of our first, 9 games. We've won 2, we've drawn 4, and we've lost 3. So in that aspect, we've only registered 10 points from a possible 27. We know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. And we're sitting, I think, around 14th in the league. So we're sitting just around 2 points above relegation. So you can quite frankly say at the moment, you know, we are facing a relegation battle. You know, I don't think Manchester United will get relegated, like I mentioned, because I think the club's too big and there's too much money into the football club. But I think, you know, we hopefully now anyway, you know, things will start to turn around at Manchester United. Obviously, news regarding Alex Tuanzebe. Obviously, you know, he was named in the starting 11 against Liverpool at the weekend, but obviously he sustained a hip injury, don't forget. So obviously Rojo had taken his place. So we know obviously Tuanzebe, you know, wouldn't have been involved. But, you know, we have got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and trying to improve, like I mentioned. And I don't think, all the young upcoming players will become a success. I do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because obviously he has got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players. I do have element of concerns about certain ones, but like I mentioned, I can definitely assure that the likes of Tuan Zebe and Mason Greenwood, will become a success at the football club. I can definitely assure that. Maybe Brandon Williams can, but I think like I mentioned, we need to loan some of the young upcoming players out. Obviously, because maybe some of them are not good enough to represent Man United, or they need to be loaned out to gain more experience. So I think that would be good business in the football club if we did do that in January. With a win against Partizan Belgrade yesterday, it doesn't change my perception on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the football club. I still believe he's not the right man to elevate Manchester United forward. And, my element of concerns about him is that, he hasn't really got any intuition on how to manage a big football club like Manchester United, and that, maybe he does deserve more time at the football club, because obviously not every manager, does settle in straight away. Obviously, prime example with Jurgen Klopp, he's been at Liverpool now a number of years. Obviously, when he first got recommended into Liverpool, he was really, really bad, and I think his record after his first 29 games were as bad or were worse than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So I will take that into account. And Klopp, got all the time, that he did need. So maybe some people believe if we stay with Solskjaer, eventually it can emulate into a Jurgen Klopp. Because don't forget, Solskjaer, he knows the traditions of the football club. He was a great player for us for 11 years, and that he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. Taking into account, Ferguson didn't settle in straight away when he first got recommended into the football club. Don't forget, he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United, and he actually was on the verge of getting the sack, but he didn't. And then look what he went and accomplished. We had 20 odd years of success under Alex Ferguson, and Solskjaer didn't, as you say, was following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. But Solskjaer hasn't even been here a year yet. He's been at the football club just under a year, so he's been here overall for around 10 months. We can say he's enjoyed a difficult 7.5 month tenure with Manchester United. Obviously, reflecting on the negative results and the bad performances. Obviously, like I mentioned, and it has seemed to have all gone wrong, since he had got the job permanently. Don't forget, Solskjaer is on a 3-year contract. But reflecting back when he was the interim manager, he did really, really well. The results were good, the performances were good. He got the best out of these group of players. And, he exceeded expectations, during that 3-month period and that. But maybe he does deserve more time at the club. But he just, for me, hasn't really got that managerial experience. Obviously, before he came to Man United, he was with Mould. He won a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould. And then before that, he had a really short tenure with Cardiff, where he actually began his managerial career, and he managed around 30 games for Cardiff. I actually ended up getting Cardiff relegated. So this is why when we did get the sack from Cardiff. Don't forget, Solskjaer also managed the Manchester United reserve team for a couple of years. So he did watch some of this team at this day and age, grow and develop. But yeah, there's still some people saying, look, we need to give him at least a couple more transfer windows, to see who else he can recommend to the football club. We know that he brought 3 good players to the squad during the summer, and it was good during the summer that we did address some of the problematic areas. But, we still know that a massive rebuild is needed at the football club, and analysing the majority of this team, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's anyway. Actually, the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, because Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into Manchester United, and now Solskjaer is inheriting the vast majority of them. But it's good that, Solskjaer is obviously, making plans for January. I think he's keen on sticking to the policy of recruiting young British players, like he did do early on this summer, because that was his transfer policy, back in the summer. But I think, to be quite fair, I think we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. So we'll look to probably sign 1 or 2 players in January. Then we'll look to do a lot more business next summer. And, I said in the next 2, 3 to 4 windows. Our recruitment, does need to improve, because analysing our recruitment, it's very, very poor. It's been very, very poor for several years, and that blame, stems from the board. And I did say anywhere the vast majority of the blame stems from the board, because the board, like I mentioned, have been a liability for several years. There's some Man United, a lot of Man United fans that are demanding our current board out, and they're saying, we should recommend a new board in. And I believe also the board do need to assure structural changes at the football club, and whether they can do this or not, I do not know. I said, quite a lot of times, due to our bad run of performances, I think everyone needs to take the blame. Some of the blame stems from Solskjaer. Solskjaer's not accountable in the last 2 games, though, because I think he's tactically got it spot on, and we've showed some tactical flexibility. Some of the blame does stem from a lot of the players. I think also some of the blame stems from Ed Woodward. There's obviously a lot of Man United fans demanding him out of the football club. So I think, to be quite fair overall, everyone is accountable in my own perception on that. But, I think the mistake Man United did make, obviously, was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. We should have never given him the job. And in a way, I do feel sorry for Solskjaer, because I think, the club have put him in a very, very difficult position. The club have put Solskjaer, in a very, very difficult position. But, like I said, at the end of last season, and I said at the start of this season, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is aware of the expectations he has to exceed at Manchester United. And I said at the start of this season that our expectations this season will be to finish in that top 4. So in that aspect, we can get back into the Champions League, because, we've actually failed to qualify for the Champions League 3 times out of the last 6 seasons since Ferguson's retirement, which is obviously very, very bad. We've only actually failed to secure European football once overall since 1990. That's nearly 3 decades ago now. I think the time we failed to secure European football at all was back under the David Moyes era. But, I've disregarded the top 4 this season. We've got still a chance of obviously getting in that top 4. I've obviously disregarded it. I think we'll probably maybe finish 8th, 7th this season. But the positive is, things now could turn around at Manchester United. If Solskjaer does stick with this formation. Don't forget, quite a few times this season he has gone with that 4-3-3 formation. Obviously, Solskjaer and Ed Woodward obviously have got the same perceptions. Solskjaer, insists he's the right manager for Man United, and he's never felt the job is too big for him. Obviously, Ed Woodward believes that, he insists that he's backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer 100%. But yeah, definitely the recruitment has got to improve. And for me, the depth in the squad is not good enough. And there's some good players in our team and that. But, like I mentioned, you can get the best players, in the world. It don't matter who you bring in. Obviously, you've got to play as a unit and, play as a team, and that if you don't, that's obviously, it's not going to work out. So this is what I did take into account, always overpaying for players. We're known for overpaying for players in recent years, and spending, big and that, and getting them Galactico players doesn't always guarantee you success. So maybe it would be ideal, to be sensible, with your recruitment. But yeah, probably for me, I would give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more time, for now anyway, because I think us getting rid of him now or just before Christmas wouldn't solve a lot of problems at Manchester United, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. And obviously, I know there was reports coming out the other week saying, if we were to suffer a heavy defeat to Liverpool, that could obviously end Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure at Man United or put his job in serious jeopardy. He said if we failed to beat Norwich, that could sack him as well. I think we'd have to pay around £7 million in compensation to get rid of Solskjaer. Obviously, £7 million is around half or less than half, than what we paid to get rid of Jose Mourinho, because we paid around 19 million or 20 million to get rid of Jose Mourinho. But as we all aware, we're not really known for the sacking football club anywhere, despite the fact we've sacked 3 managers already since the Ferguson era. David Moyes left the football club after 10 months. He had a really, really short tenure. He's the manager that's had the shortest tenure with the club since the Ferguson era. Van Gaal got sacked just after a year, despite the fact he won the FA Cup. And Mourinho, obviously, lasted had a 2.5 year tenure at Man United, and he won the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season. But obviously, his tenure, didn't work out. But yeah, you're still getting a lot of Man United fans demanding Solskjaer out, and there's still certain ones that are willing to back him. But I still love him a lot either way, and I don't want him to be sacked by the football club. I want his tenure to become successful at Manchester United, and I want him to bring the Ferguson days back. I want him to bring that fear factor back to the football club, and I know a lot of people have got doubts about that. To be quite honest with you. Like I updated you as well regarding some transfer news. I updated you about that yesterday. It's looking very, very imminent that we are going to sign Mario Mandzukic in January. He's our top priority for January. As you all know, recent reports have confirmed that Mario Mandzukic has slashed his wage demands in order to make the move to Old Trafford. He's slashed his wage demands in half from 300,000 to 150 grand a week, because he was currently on around 300 grand a week. And Mario Mandzukic, I think he probably would be the right solution for Man United. And the only element of concern I've got about us recommending him in is his age. He's now 33 years of age, but I think he has to leave Juventus anywhere, because obviously he's lost his surplus to requirements now. He's not getting in the team. Since Maurizio Sarri's recommendation in the summer, he hasn't played a single minute under Maurizio Sarri's guidance. And I think Mario Mandzukic is now into his 5th season at Juventus. In total, he scored 44 goals in 162 appearances in all competitions. I think he's still under contract with Juventus until 2021. But yeah, Juventus, I think, paid around, was it £21 million to him from Atletico Madrid. But he is a cheap alternative. Man United will only have to pay around £10 million for him, and I think we're prepared to hand him around an 18-month contract. But I think Fabio Partizan, the Juventus sporting director, he's actually been negotiating Mario Mandzukic's exit. So we're obviously seeing him as a replacement for Lukaku. Don't forget, we inquired about getting Mario Mandzukic towards the back end of the summer transfer window. Yeah, so it looks like we're gonna sign him in January, but obviously we need to build on that, because obviously we need more than Mario Mandzukic. And obviously there has been talks about Moussa Dembele, because Solskjaer obviously said he wants another attacker in as well as Mario Mandzukic, so he wants to bring 2 forwards in January. Moussa Dembele, as you all know, is an out-and-out number 9, only 23 years of age. Probably will cost the club a substantial amount of money. We'll probably have to pay around 70 odd million pounds for his services. He's now into his 2nd season with Lyon, and I think he feels unsettled with Lyon now. Last season was his debut season there with Lyon. I think he scored 20 goals for Lyon last season. Lyon did pay around £20 million to him from Celtic last summer. He had a good couple of years, in Scotland. Obviously began his senior career with Fulham, and he did really, really well with Fulham. And I think at that point there was quite a few teams tracking him. But yeah, and I think, again, he would be reliable to get us them goals that we do need. I think he would be able to lead the lines. And I think would be excited about the prospect of him, playing alongside the likes of Martial, Rashford and Dan James in our attacking line. Been a lot of talks about him. As you all know, there has been talks about James Maddison. Obviously, Man United are in for him. I think we inquired about getting him during the summer. We was tentatively linked with James Maddison during the summer, which means he wasn't one of our main priority targets. But we are in for James Maddison. I think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United. He is predominantly an attacking midfielder. Brendan Rodgers, I know, has played him on the left quite a few times, but he's a player that would be good for Man United. He'd be able to score us some goals. He'd be able to create more chances for us, because look at what he did last season for Leicester in his debut season. He created more chances there than any other player in the Premier League. He scored, I think, around 14 goals last season. 7 goals, 7 assists, so he was involved in 14 goals. Leicester did pay around £20 million to him last summer from Norwich. He's still got 4 years left, by the way, on his current contract with Leicester. I think Leicester are looking to obviously get him to sign a new contract. Obviously, this news about James Maddison, it came out early on this week. It was stemming from a reliable journalist called David Ornstein, and he said, Man United are expected to sign James Maddison within the next year. But maybe it's more probable if we are to get him, it will be next summer, rather than January. But, I would, love James Maddison to come in. He'd add more balance to that midfield, more depth in that midfield, and he's still only 22 years of age. And don't forget, he would fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly. But obviously, if we are to sign Mandzukic, and obviously Solskjaer's preparing to break his own transfer policy, so we will take that into account. So there is a lot of players on our agenda, who we could go in for. But yeah, Mario Mandzukic is probably going to be, our first signing, in January, and I think he's going to be our fourth signing under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, so far. Because don't forget, Solskjaer recommended Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire to the football club. But yeah, we will see. And like I mentioned, a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United. A hell of a lot of money has been spent at the football club. Obviously, nearly £800 million, I think, has been spent, or is it 700 odd million, in all the managerial eras since the Ferguson era. So we spent just under £1 billion on players, and that's not taking into account, what was spent under Alex Ferguson. We've also, got players on big contracts at the football club. I also, I do want to mention, I'm happy that we've actually, addressed the contract renewals, because that was a problem in the summer. We were struggling to get players new contracts, and that there is. I'm happy with some of the players we give contracts to, and I'm, not satisfied with some of the players, we give contracts to. Jones shouldn't have signed a new long-term contract last season. Young shouldn't have been given a new one-year extension last season. I'm happy Brandon Williams signed a new contract. I'm happy Greenwood signed a new contract. I'm happy Rashford signed a new long-term contract, even though he hasn't performed to the standards as we all expected this season. Had a great game against Liverpool at the weekend, but still says a long-term solution for Man United. And Rashford's on a substantial amount at the club. He's on, 300 grand a week at just the age of 21. He's now nearly 22 years of age, by the way. He's Rashford. Martial, glad he signed a new deal, back in January. He's on 200 grand a week. He's deserved it, Anthony Martial. But Tom Way, I think he signed a new contract last season. Some United fans were unhappy about that. But I think, to be fair, Tom Way's, played really, really well this season. I've been really, really impressed with him in that. At Tom Way, he's not a world-class midfielder, but I think he's done really, really well. I don't know if he's a long-term solution though for Man United, as I do keep saying, and I've got the same perception on Fred. I don't know if he's a long-term solution for the football club. He's had the odd good game here and there where he's done well for Man United. I know a lot of Man United fans believe that he's not good enough to represent the football club, but maybe he does deserve a bit more time. And like I said, we're known for overpaying for players, and that we overpaid for Fred. I will agree on that aspect. We paid just under 50 million. We overpaid for Matic, definitely. I don't think we should have ever recommended Matic into the football club, because I think he's too slow. He makes that midfield look totally imbalanced. He's now into his third season as a Man United player, and actually Matic is now in anywhere initially lost his place in the team. And I think, he's one of the players that needs to leave Manchester United without a shadow of a doubt. Like I mentioned, despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, I still believe there's more problematic players at the football club that do need to be moved on in January or next summer. That's my opinion on that. And Matic is one of the players that does need to be moved on. His contract expires at the end of the season, but we actually do have an option to extend it by a further year. But we did pay around £40 million to Matic from Chelsea back in 2017. But at the time we got him under the Mourinho era, he wasn't our first choice signing him. Anyway, he was like our third choice, and he's 31 now, so he is aging up, so we can also take that into account. And I will agree, we overpaid for Harry Maguire. £80 million. He's, the most expensive defender in the world. You can say he's addressed our defensive deficiencies. We still do seem to be conceding goals, but I think we do look slightly better defensively, than obviously, what we did last season. But, Harry Maguire, he's going to do well at Man United. He's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Man United career, to be fair. We overpaid for Romelu Lukaku, at the time we got him from Everton back in 2017. We paid, £75 million for him. And, like I mentioned, Lukaku enjoyed 2 seasons at the football club. He enjoyed an exceptional first season at Man United. Scored, I think, 27 goals in all competitions, but didn't really replicate that in his second season with the football club. I thought Lukaku was poor in his second season with Man United. He didn't replicate what he did in his first season, but take into account, Lukaku had initially lost his place in the team, like I mentioned, so he had to go, Lukaku, and I think now he's doing well with Inter Milan. It's good, it's good the money we generated from his departure. We got 70-odd million, so basically we recouped the money that we did pay for him from Everton, back in 2017. Which was obviously very, very good. So yeah, we are known for overpaying for players. And like I said, we know there's obviously been a lot of talks about Max Allegri going on now for several weeks. There's been a lot of talks about him going on, and if Solskjaer was to be sacked by the football club, which I don't think he will, but I think he'll be given at least until January, or probably at least until the end of this season. So he's our primary candidate. Is Max Allegri if Solskjaer knows to be sacked? He's the next likely manager to come in. Obviously Max Allegri has been managerless since the end of last season. Obviously when he stepped down as Juventus manager, and Max Allegri he had a 5-year tenure with Juventus, and that obviously won the vast majority of his with Juventus. He is around 52, 53 years of age. I think Arsenal are also have been interested in him, but he reportedly said we've been told we will win the Premier League and the Champions League within 3 years if we were to recommend Max Allegri in. But Max Allegri was in discussions with the football club not too long ago about the salary he would earn if he came to Man United, and he did say he would earn around 6.5 million a year. He also said quite a few weeks ago he was demanding Patrice Evra as one of his coaching staff, and he wanted to bring Mario Mandzukic and Emre Can with him to Manchester United if he was to come in. But I don't see it happening now anyway, because I think the club, will stick with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now for the time being. But a lot of Man United fans maybe believe that Max Allegri, would be the right candidate for the football club. But this is what a lot of Man United fans do believe. He recently said he'd been learning English anywhere in preparation for his potential move. This is, what it had said. This is, what it had basically said. But yes, we got Norwich coming up on Sunday, and we have got games coming up thick and fast. Norwich this Sunday. Then it's away to Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, which is obviously going to be a tough game. And then I think it's Bournemouth away in the league. So we have got 3 away games now coming up on the trot in all competitions. This is our chance now to start getting more away wins under our belt, because I said our away form needs to improve. But it's good with a win against Belgrade now that we've obviously not ended 11 away games without a win, which is obviously very, very good to see. We top Group L, and I think we'll probably make it to the knockouts, to be quite honest with you, because our group isn't really, really hard. To be quite honest with you. And I thought the performance against Partizan Belgrade yesterday was comparison to the game against AZ Alkmaar. AZ Alkmaar, is probably the worst performance I've seen this season, without a shadow of a doubt. We didn't even register a single shot on target in the Alkmaar game. But yeah, we are top, 7 points we've got, 1-2 drawn 1. 9 points. So yeah, I'm actually really, really happy overall. And there'll be more live videos coming up later on today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. I want to know your perceptions and that, how you think the game went. So take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.